Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Sarita Bang, and we are doing the play A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. In the previous videos, I have already given you an introduction and a few points about Nora's character. We will be doing other critical essays later on. Let me start the play today and explain it side by side. We begin with the dramatis personae, that is the characters. Troald Helmer. Nora is his wife. She is the central character of this play. Then Dr. Rank, who is a family friend of the Helmers. Mrs. Lind, who is Nora's friend. Nils Krogstad. Helmer's three young children, Anne, who is their nurse, a housemaid, and a porter. These are the characters in the play, and the action takes place in Helmer's house. A Doll's House, Act 1. Scene A. Room is furnished comfortably and tastefully. I told you this is a realistic play, and we have realistic backprops and stage setting in these plays. So you will see a realistically set drawing room or a house is shown in this play. Tastefully but not extravagantly. At the back, a door. To the right leads the entrance hall. Another to the left leads to Helmer's study. Between the doors stand a piano. In the middle of the left-hand wall is a door, and beyond it a window. Near the window are a round table, armchairs, and a small sofa. In the right-hand wall, at the farther end, another door, and on the same side, nearer the footlights, a stove, two easy chairs, and a rocking chair. Between the stove and the door, a small table. Engravings on the wall, a cabinet with china and other small objects, a small bookcase with well-bound books. The floors are carpeted, and a fire burns in the stove. It is winter. A bell rings in the hall. Shortly afterwards, the door is heard to open. Enter Nora, humming a tune and in high spirits. She is in the outdoor dress and carries a number of parcels. These she lays on the table to the right. She leaves the outer door open after her, and through it is seen a porter or a coolie, which we call in India, who is carrying a Christmas tree and a basket, which he gives to the maid who opened the door. Nora enters the house and hide the Christmas tree carefully, Helene. Be sure the children do not see it until this evening when it is fully dressed. Dressed means decorated. To the porter, taking out her purse. How much? Porter says, 6 pence. Nora, there is a shilling. No, keep the change. The porter thanks her and goes out. Nora shuts the door. She is laughing to herself as she takes off her hat and coat. She takes a pocket of macaroons from her pocket and eats one or two, then goes cautiously to her husband's door and listens. Yes, he is in. Still humming, she goes to the table on the right. Helmer calls out from his study, from his room. Is that my little lark twittering out there? Nora, busy opening some of the parcels. Yes, it is. Helmer, is it my little squirrel bustling about? Nora, yes. Helmer, when did my squirrel come home? So you note, as we are reading the play, you should note certain things, that this is the first conversation between Helmer and Nora, that is husband and wife, and he calls her a lark, and he calls her squirrel, and he calls her pet and all that, but he never calls her Nora throughout the play except for one or two times. You will notice this, and these things are important to notice because you will see the development of Helmer and Nora's character in the play and how it contributes to the theme of the play. How a woman is treated by a man like his pet or a property, not like a life partner. When did my squirrel come home? Nora, just now, puts the bag of macaroons into her pocket and wipes her mouth because she is not free even to eat macaroons without his permission. Come in here, Torvald, and see what I have bought. Helma, don't disturb me. A little later, he opens the door and looks into the room with a pen in his hand. Bought, did you say? All these things? Has my little spendthrift been wasting money again? Nora, yes, but Torvald, dear, this year we really can let ourselves go a little. This is the first Christmas we have not needed to economize. Helma, still, you know we can't spend money recklessly. Nora, yes, Torvald, we may be a wee bit more reckless now, mayn't we? Just a tiny wee bit. You are going to have a big salary and earn lots and lots of money. Helma, yes, after the new year, but then it'll be a whole quarter before the salary is due. Nora, phoo, we can borrow until then. Helma, Nora goes up to her and takes her playfully by the ear, the same little featherhead. Suppose now that I borrowed 50 pounds today and you spent it all in the Christmas week, and then on New Year's Eve, a slate fell on my head and killed me, and Nora puts her hands over his mouth. Oh, don't say such horrid things. Helma, still, suppose that happened, what then? Nora, if that were to happen, I don't suppose I should care whether I owned any money or not. I owed money or not to anybody, that is. Helma, yes, but what about the people who had lent it? Nora, they? Who would bother about them? I should not know who they were. Helma, that is like a woman. But seriously, Nora, you know what I think about that? No debt, no borrowing. There can be no freedom or beauty about a home life that depends on borrowing and debt. We too have kept bravely on the straight road so far, and we will go on the same way for the short time longer that there need be any struggle. Nora, moving towards the stove. Yes, as you please, Torvald. Helma, following her. Come, come, my little skylark, must not droop her wings. What is this? Is my little squirrel out of temper? Taking out his purse. Nora, what do you think I have got here? Nora, turning round quickly. Money? Helma, there you are, gives her some money. Do you think I don't know what a lot is wanted for housekeeping at Christmas time? Nora, counting. 10 shillings, a pound, 2 pounds. Thank you, Torvald. That will keep me going for a long time. Helma, indeed it must. Nora, yes, it will. Come here and let me show you what I have bought. And all so cheap. Look, here is a suit for Ivar, and a sword, and a horse, and a trumpet for Bob, and a doll and Dolly's bedstead for Emmy. They are all plain, but anyway, she will soon break them in pieces. And here there are dress lengths and handkerchiefs for the maids. Old Anne ought really to have something better. Helma, and what is in this parcel? Crying out, no, you mustn't see that until this evening. Helma, very well, but now tell me, you extravagant little person, what would you like for yourself? For myself? Oh, I'm sure I don't want anything. Yes, but you must. Tell me something reasonable that you would particularly like to have. No, I really can't think of anything unless Torvald. Helma, well, Nora, playing with his coat buttons and without raising her eyes to his. If you really want to give me something, you might. Helma, well, out with it. Nora, speaking quickly. You might give me money. Torvald, only just as much as you can afford, and then one of these days I will buy something with it. Helma, but Nora? Oh, do, dear Torvald, please do. Then I will wrap it up in beautiful gilt paper and hang it on the Christmas tree. Wouldn't that be fun? Helma, What are the little people called that are always wasting money? Spendthrifts, I know. Let us do as you suggest, Trovald, and then I shall have time to think what I am most in want of. That's a very sensible plan, isn't it? Helmer. Indeed, it is. That is to say, if you were really to save out of the money I give you and then really buy something for yourself. But if you spend it all on the housekeeping and any number of unnecessary things, then I merely have to pay up again. Oh, but Trovald, you can't deny it, my dear little Nora. Puts his arm round her. It's a sweet little spendthrift, but she uses up a deal of money. One would hardly believe how expensive such little persons are. See, you must have noticed in this first conversation of the play, the conversation between husband and wife, and how Helmer talks to Nora and what tone he talks to her. He takes her very lightly. He does not have any idea what kind of sacrifices she has made for the house and for her husband, how she pays by working hard for her husband's treatment, etc. But you have to keep this in mind as we read the play and you see the plot or the story develop. We will continue the play in the next video. Till then, thank you.